All right, and we should be recording now. So welcome again. The objective of what we're doing here is to basically give you 3 different ways to record or to use video to deliver content and to hold virtual office hours, right? Along with that, I'll kind of give you a few suggestions on best practices and how and when to use these 3 different mediums, okay? And we're gonna start with the one you're using right now, so Google Meet. You got onto the call, so good job, all right? So objective 1, done. Now I'm gonna show you how to start your own meeting, okay? And then kind of go into the ins and outs of what you can do in the meeting and give you some ideas on how to use this with students, okay? So it's going to get a little weird because I'm going to start a new meeting, and this new meeting will be seen inside of this current meeting, okay? So there may be a lag in that my lips move and the sound that comes out, and that'll be because of the video meeting inside of a video meeting. So just a fair warning there, all right? And for a large part of this, I won't be able to see the chat at all. So hence why Ben is here, and he can alert me to any crises that might come up, okay? All right, so you should be seeing what I see, and just want to confirm that you see my Google screen here.
We can see that, David.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so we're going to start with Google Meet, right? And a quick way to get to Google Meet is to type in the word meet.google.com, and that's Google's shortcut for all of their products is productname.google.com. Okay, so as this loads, you can see there will be a different picture each time. You know, they try to feature some artists, but I'm supposed to be in this meeting right now, right? So I can click here and join that meeting, right? Or I can start a new meeting, and that's what I'm going to plan on doing. Apologies about any beeping noises. I think the neighbors are making lots of noises outside, and I'm by a window, so if any noise gets in the way, please let me know, and I'll try to find a new place to present, okay? So here, you'll click join or start a meeting to join or start a meeting, okay? And there, you have the option to give the meeting a nickname. I recommend you do that for a few reasons. One is so you can easily find the meeting if you have several saved. But then also, when you give it a nickname, I believe this is going to be rolling out soon, where students won't be able to, or participants won't be able to join a meeting that has been hung up by the organizer. Okay, so I'm just going to call this sample 5. All right. All right, continue. And now you should be seeing my start screen, right? And no one is in this meeting yet because I haven't invited anybody. It's brand new. Before I jump into the meeting, I have the option of muting myself or turning off my camera, right? And then I have the little vertical dots here where I can turn on closed captions right from the beginning as soon as I jump in. And there's a few other settings that are camera and audio settings that you probably won't need to mess with, okay? So I'm gonna join this second meeting right now. And you are all eavesdropping on this second meeting that I'm having, right? So immediately what happens is I get the nickname along with the share info. So now that I've created this, I can copy this info by clicking here, And now it's in my clipboard, so I can go and post it or paste it into Google Classroom or into an email, or what I've been hearing people doing is they'll paste it into a Google Doc or a Google Slide that is a view-only file for students. That way they can get rid of it and take privileges of viewing that document away from students, and then they can't rejoin the meeting. So it's a workaround I've heard some people using. Okay, so whatever the case might be, you can copy the join code and paste it, email it, and have people join that way, or you can individually invite people. Right? And so was that a question just now, or? Okay, so something I tried earlier was copying in a list of emails from Calendar, and then I pasted them in here and it worked. So if that is a faster way to invite people, then you can do it that way. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Okay, and I'll give you a little tour of the bottom of the screen. So clicking on the name, on the nickname of the meeting gives you the join information also that you can copy. If you sent this meeting through a calendar invite, in that calendar invite, you can attach things from your Google Drive and they would appear here, okay? All right, right here, I can turn the microphone off. So I turned it off, but you can still hear me because you're hearing me in our meeting, not in this meeting, right? So the people in this meeting can't hear me, but there's nobody there anyway. Okay? This button is the hang up button, so you leave the call. And then this button turns off the camera. So now these people in this meeting, in this fake meeting, can't see me, but you can off on the side and stuff. So closed captioning works remarkably well. I've tried this every time, and it's worked pretty well, where I'm just talking, and then all of a sudden I say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and there it is. So it works pretty well. But I'm going to turn it off now. And then there's the Present Now button. I can choose to present my entire screen, which is what I am doing in our meeting right now, or only a window. And if I click on that, I get these options. So these are the different windows I have open on my computer. So I can click on one of those and project that one to you. And that's what I was doing with that clock, okay, or the countdown clock. Okay, I'm going to cancel that. Now I'm going to show you some of the features. All right, so there's the recording meeting. So this meeting within a meeting is not being recorded. Ours is, right? And so the little red dot is red. The little dot is red in our meeting, not in this one. I can change the layout like I showed you at the beginning here and go full screen if I wanted to. So I am going full screen. I'm going to exit full screen from this one. Okay, just as a demo. You can turn on the captionings here also, go into settings. And again, the settings are just for to let Google Meet know which microphone and which camera you're using. Typically, you're probably going to use the default, which is either the headphones that you're using or the computer microphone and speakers. But if you have external speakers, you can choose to use those as well. Okay. You also have this option to use a telephone for the audio and still watch the video. So if you don't have a microphone, you can turn this on and connect the audio with your phone, with your cell phone, and watch the meeting. Though when I've tried it, there is a bit of a lag, and that might just be my internet, not necessarily something inherently dysfunctional there. And then there's these two buttons where you can report a problem if something's not working well or to your liking, or if you want help with something. And because we're in an education domain, I've heard that Google tends to listen to feedback from educators more quickly, or they heed the suggestions from educators more quickly than the general public. And so some of the newer features of Google Meet were put there because a lot of teachers were complaining about some of the features. And so that's why there's new changes coming, within days also. So I would encourage you, if there's something you don't like about it, report a problem there, and it will, you probably won't be the only person who doesn't like what's happening. So, all right. Other than that, there's these buttons up here. So this tells me who's on the call. So right now it's just me. It's kind of lonely over here. Right. This is the chat, right? And I can see a record of the chat. Because I'm recording our meeting, everything that's in the chat will also get recorded, and you'll get a copy of that after. Then I can click on myself here, and this little pin appears. So what that means is that no matter what is pinned is what I will see big here in the middle, okay? Close that. And that, in a nutshell, is Google Meet, okay? So I'm going to end this call, okay, and go back to our meeting, okay? So one of the reasons I wanted to show you all that is because of the record feature, right? So it's a little used tool that I think is very, it can have a lot of potential. So as a presenter, right, or as a teacher, I could decide to hold a Google Meet with no one else joining the meet, and I can still record it, right? And so I can send the recording out to my students. One of the benefits of this recording is that it's not web-based like Google. So it's a file that magically shows up in this Meet recordings folder that has appeared in your Google Drive. So once you record this, kind of like the Google Classroom folder, you have this folder in your Drive, and it just appears there when you're done with the call, right? So I can have that file, share it through Google Classroom. If students don't have internet access at home, they can go to a place where they do get internet access on their phone, for example, and download that audio file or that video file onto their phone, and then they have access to your lesson, to your recorded lesson, without the need of an internet connection. So that's one real good feature there. All right. Was there a question asking me to show something? I just saw that last bit. I can show it now if you want.
Yeah, David, the question was how to share a Google Meet for the future. So maybe show them how to do it like you created this one, how to do that in the messages. Or I'm sorry, in the calendar.
Oh, in the calendar. Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm going to open up my calendar. Calendar.google.com. Shortcut there. And let's say I want to do this on Katie's birthday here, on Saturday the 4th. So I can double click on Saturday the 4th at 8 a.m. and I can change that later, right? I can add all the details like I would for any normal calendar, but I click here, add conferencing, and click Hangouts Meet. And this link automatically gets created, right? And now I can start inviting people. Like Ben. This is funny, Ben. You should see. You're my number one person. Yeah, that's just who pops in. So if I'm going to invite somebody, Google assumes I must be Ben.
Woohoo!
So, and now I can hit save, and it'll send this email. Like many of you probably received an email with a link to this meeting. That's how that was created. Okay. And if you want to do it in mass, what we did, we got your emails from a form survey that Loy sent out. And so she shared, with only view access, the spreadsheet that it produced. And we just copied the entire column of email addresses and pasted them in here, and you were all invited. So it was very easy to do. All right. I'm going to leave that. Okay. Cool. All right. So there's that. Now, actually, are there any questions about Google Meet? Because we're going to transition to YouTube Live after this.
No, but I wanted to just share something, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, so as a program specialist, I needed to be able to set up my office hours. And so the way you just set up the meeting, how you showed us, I went ahead and duplicated that, or had it reoccurring, that meeting reoccurring, because I wanted the URL that stays with this my particular classroom or office, virtual office, to stay the same, or the phone number that is attached to that to stay the same, because it's very unique to each meeting that you set up. So in order to do that, I went ahead and just, I will either duplicate a meeting, or I set up a recurring, and then I took that link, made it active, and put it in a flyer that people now can click on just that link to go to that same classroom every time I'm in my office hour.
Oh, awesome. And it's the same link.
It's the same link, because if you create a new meeting, it creates a new URL. So that was just a tip, that if you use the same exact meeting, and even if you don't do reoccurring, but you want people to go to that same meeting space, then you can duplicate the meeting so the URL stays the same.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And then I just saw another question pop up there. And how did I screen? You wiggle your mouse, the bottom of the screen. Oh, there you go. Produces this little like ribbon, right? Right here, mine says you are presenting. Yours says present now, perhaps, or David is presenting. If no one is presenting, you can click there, and then you get an option to present either your entire screen or a specific window you have open, and then everyone gets to see that. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments about Google Meet? Okay. All right. So one of the difficulties, maybe the complaints that I've heard about Google Meet, and I empathize with, are that you have that unique URL, and it stays live for the rest of humanity, you know. So as long as Google's alive, it seems to be active. And some concerns were, well, what if my students are, you know, decide to join this meeting, you know, and they're meeting, unsupervised? Well, you know, the quick answer to that is they're doing a lot of unsupervised things, you know, so, oh well. But if you really don't want to try to avoid that, and you still want to have a meeting where that's live, you could use YouTube Live. All right, so it's still in real time, and you can still record it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. The first time is a little bit laborious maybe, but I'm going to show you what you would do the very first time you do it. And you'll have this video to go back and refer to, okay? So you're going to open up a new tab, and I'm going to go to YouTube, just regular plain old YouTube, while I am logged into my district account. So this is my district account YouTube page that will load one day here. So I'm going to wait until it fully loads to kind of show you. All right. Okay, so that's good enough. so here I am on YouTube. One of the options that you have, oh, and again, I'm going to emphasize, make sure you're logged into your district account when you're going to do this. One of the options you have is this little plus sign inside of a camera, so you can create a video and more, right? So I click there, and I have these two options. I can either upload a video I already have, or I can go live, right? So I'm going to click go live. And that takes me to a different website. It's called YouTube Studio, okay? And again, I am logged into my district account. If you have a district Gmail account, you have a YouTube channel, whether you knew it or not, okay? So here is the studio for my YouTube channel. All right, so the very first time you log into this, it's going to ask you a few questions like, do you give YouTube permission to use this device, this camera, this microphone, you know, do you consent to behave yourself, you know, that sort of thing. And just click allow and yes, and just go through, okay? I promise you're not you're not saying yes to anything dangerous. Well, as far as I know. So anyway, so after you give all those permissions, you may or may not come to this page immediately, okay? There is at least a 24-hour turnaround where someone at the other end of Google here confirms that you are a valid user. I don't know the ins and outs of why that happens, but usually it's something like 24 hours for them to confirm that you're a real human being who's going to be using this. So keep that in mind. So after you go through that, you go through these steps I just showed you. Go to YouTube, go to the little camera, and go live. And now you come to this. So you're going to start a live stream. So I'm going to start a live stream live here for you, okay? So I'm going to call this sample 10 because I can't remember how many I've done of these. So, and the next option after you give it a title is whether you want to make it public, all right, unlisted, or private. So let me explain what all these mean. So public means that anyone can search and view your video, your live stream, okay? So like anybody with an internet connection on YouTube can find it. The chances of somebody stumbling upon this are like almost zero, right? So if you are concerned that I don't want somebody to accidentally find my goofy video of me teaching, and the chances are very low that would happen, right? But I understand that could be a concern. So the other option is to make it unlisted. What this means is that anyone who has the link that this produces, the URL that this produces, can watch this, okay? So, so you give the initial URL to someone, right? Like I would give this URL to my students in Google Classroom, for example. Now, they can take that URL and share it, and whoever they share it with will be able to access it. So keep that in mind. Right? The internet is a very public place. So, but that's what unlisted means. You probably don't want to do private because then no one else can see it except for you. Okay, so so those are your options. So I would suggest either public or unlisted, just to show you that it's safe to go public with this. I'm going to make this one public. Okay. You can also schedule it for later, so you can, you know, tell your students, hey, my live stream lesson on fractions is going to drop on April 1st at 2:05. You know, so or whatever the case might be. But I'm just going to go live now. Okay. All right. And then there's this question about audience, and it asks you if this is made specifically for children. You know, initially you're like, well, yeah, these are high school students. Yeah, it's for children. But actually the answer you want to give is no. And this is why this link here will explain it more eloquently than what I'll give you. But essentially, if you say yes, that means that it's one of those types of videos, whether it's educational or not, that's meant to entertain children, made specifically for little kids, right? So that means that they will put it on YouTube Kids. Whatever you're making probably isn't that. So I would just say no, it's not for kids, right? You don't have to worry about age restrictions because you should not be making anything that only 18 or over will be allowed to use, right? So we're not going to worry about that. Now I'm going to click next, okay? And now it's counting down, and it's counting down to a picture it's going to take. So I'm going to pose. And yeah, it didn't, I'm terrible picture taker. So I could be like, I'm going to retake this thumbnail. So what this is this is the picture that's going to go on the link. So if you ever go onto YouTube and you see the still image for the video, that's what this is. Okay. Oh, also, and I forgot to share this, but one of the options you are given is a category. Mine just defaults to education because I think that's the label I most often use. But the first time you use it, it's arts and culture, I believe. So you might want to change that. But again, it really doesn't matter. As you can see, I'm really popular. I have 0 people who are just alerted that I'm going live, and now they're waiting to watch my my very interesting video, right? But that's okay. So I'm going to go live. So here we go. This is being broadcast to the internet from Lancaster, California. All right. Now I'm live. So here I am. I'm recording my video. I've got maybe my whiteboard in the background. I'm writing, I'm explaining, I'm showing, you know, manipulatives. Okay, so I did my teaching. My lesson's over. I'm going to hit end stream. Oh, before I do that, this lets you know how many people are watching. So as you can see, nobody's going to stumble across this. Oh, somebody did. Wow, I wonder who. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I guess I have some subscribers, and they found out. All right, is it Ben? It must be Ben. All right, and then how many people are liking the video? Right. And then you have some audio features that you can mess with, but for your purposes, you're probably not going to be doing that. And now I'm going to click end stream. All right, are you sure you want to end this? Yes, I'm going to end it. Oh, you know what? I know why that number 1 is there. It's me. It counts you as you're watching. All right, so I forgot about that. Okay, so there's that video. It was 28 seconds long. No, it's 1 minute and 4 seconds long. So now I can go to Edit in Studio. And while this loads, I can make a few changes to things. So maybe I don't really like that thumbnail. I can adjust it, but it wasn't long enough to give me something else. I could add a description, and this is how, if you really do want your video to be found by the public, this is how it would be found, by adding a description. So if you use YouTube as a search engine, for instance, it uses Google as a search engine. Google doesn't search video content or audio content, it searches text. So if you give a very detailed description about what it is that you've presented here, it's more likely to get picked up in Google's algorithm for, searching words. Okay. All right. Okay. So right here, I get a link to that video. So it's already been recorded. And so I can copy that link and post it in Google Classroom. Right. And I haven't made any changes. So I don't need to save it. I'll just say describe here. Okay. And let's say I made some changes. I can either change my mind or hit save. Save. All right. So if you go to my YouTube channel now, that's going to be listed there. So there's a bunch of these weird, like 1-minute videos of me like with this funny face with that fan behind me now. So this is the third one I've done, and then I made like a bunch of practice ones. So I haven't deleted them yet, and so there they are. And if I do want to delete it, I can click here and delete. And I can also have the option to download it here. Okay. Okay. So that, in a nutshell, is YouTube Live. Want to pause there and see if there are any questions regarding YouTube Live. Okay, so I don't hear any questions, so I'll move on. So so you have YouTube Live and Google Meet. Both can be used for synchronous content delivery. My suggestion, this is just my opinion, right? I would use Google Meet for virtual office hours for that sort of thing because it's interactive. If my lesson doesn't necessarily have to be interactive where I ask students something and I want them to reply in person, YouTube Live might be a good option, okay? For a couple of reasons. One, you're not gonna have students interrupting you. There is a chat stream that will be there. So you could potentially ask a question and have students respond in the chat, okay? But it's kind of hard to monitor, especially if you don't have a wingman like we're doing here. So if you want to just deliver content, then I think YouTube Live would be a better option, okay? But let's say you don't have that, you don't want to necessarily do this live, right? You want to practice first and make a video and then post it. Well, I just showed you 2 ways to do it. You could either go into Google Meet, record your lesson with no one else in the room or in the virtual room, and then upload that to YouTube. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to go to youtube.com. This is the final thing that we'll show you here. Okay, so here I am on YouTube, right? And now I'm gonna go to the little camera button again, and instead of going live, I'm gonna click on upload video. And it takes me back to YouTube Studio, but a different place in YouTube Studio. So here's what I do. So I will select a file and upload it. Okay, so if you notice, so I'm on a Chromebook, and so the default option in Chromebook is to go to my Google Drive to find content to upload into something like YouTube, right? And it went straight to this folder. Let's see if I can find the origination of the folder here. There it is. So Meet Recordings. So that's the folder I'm in. That's the folder that was created magically when I started recording my Google Meets, right? And so here's one from this morning, right? From the first PD from this morning. So I'm gonna upload this to YouTube and show you how to do that. So let's say you recorded a Google Meet, whether it had students in it or not. You know, whether it was just you or you and a virtual room full of people, right? It gets recorded automatically, stored in your Google Drive. So I'm going to go there, I'm going to grab it, hit open. Otherwise, I could go into my computer and find a video that's there, right? All right, so then here's the name of this, and it gives me a time. Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Give it a description. Describe. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna make this real, so I'm just gonna copy and paste. That's what it is. So the video is uploading, so it might take a minute for that to upload, and then I can select the thumbnail, or I can upload my own thumbnail, which is the image, right, that pops up. So in the interest of time, I won't wait for this to upload. All right. It was like an 40-minute video, so it'll take a while. And then it asks me all the same questions as before, and just show you here part of the more options. Oh, okay. So this is actually good. So it can create closed captions for you automatically, and you can select the language for the closed caption here. But here's the common misconception here is I'm recording this in English, but I want this for my Arabic students. So I'm going to click Arabic. It's going to be super confused because you are not the one speaking Arabic, if that makes sense. So you know that it has to be in English, right? So, all right. All right. However, once viewers are watching your video, they can watch closed captions that are translated into their language. Okay, and it's not perfect, but it's a start. Okay. All right. So this is not going to load very quickly, so I'm just going to get out. Okay, get out of there. But essentially, that's what you would do to upload a video. So you see these videos are being uploaded here. So I'm just going to cancel it. Okay, can use my bandwidth to meet with all of you instead. Okay, and there you have it. Okay, so to recap, there's three things I wanted to show you. One was the ins and outs of Google Meet. Second one was how to stream a live YouTube video, okay, and how to upload a video into YouTube. So if you just want to deliver content through video, and this is without doing anything fancy like adding animations and subtitles, like little cards and links and editing and special effects and Thanos over here, right? So rather than if you don't want to do any of those super fancy things, this is just a quick way to deliver content as if you were in the classroom. And so the little bit of piece of advice that I've been giving some of my teachers is they've shown me their lessons for the week, and they I'm really proud of a lot of the beginning teachers I'm working with, because they have these lessons and they're very detailed, and the directions are very clear. They worked really hard to make sure that the directions are clear so that if someone reads it, it makes sense, and it does. Yet the number one piece of advice I've been giving them is, why don't you try recording yourself explaining those directions, and it'll maybe be like a 1 to 2 minute video, but there's something comforting about just seeing your teacher's face, explaining these assignments to you. I know this doesn't apply to us for this year, but my sub plans towards the end of my time at Highland here, I decided to just always make my sub plans a quick YouTube video. So I would start, I would explain, hey, this is the sub, then I would stop and say like, hey, say your name, and then I'd keep going and, kind of be a little silly and then explain the assignment. And then I'd call out a student like, hey, Johnny, I saw that, and, they get a little laugh, I think, or they roll their eyes. I don't know. But either way, it just made it more personal, right? And right now, I think students could use that. They could use a little bit of a personal touch in our lesson plans. And hopefully, I gave you a little bit of comfort in using these tools that might seem a little scary, right? But it just in our time together, I recorded 3 videos that are ready to go on the internet if I wanted to put them there, right? So, so anyway, that's all I have for this, and I can answer any questions if you are, if you're so inclined to ask them. All right. Feels like the classroom again. So if you have any other comments or questions about this or anything else that maybe I could answer, I'll be here for the next 10 minutes or so and fire away. Oh, how do I access this video to refer back to it when I need it? Very good question. So there is there's a secret way to do it, and I'm going to tell you the secret way, and then I'm going to tell you the better way. So the secret way is that I have found that some meetings I've been a participant in showed up in my Google Drive in the Meet folder, but not all of them. So if you go in there and you have a Meet folder, that sounds so weird, a Meet folder, right? Meet with 2 E's. So a Meet folder with 2 E's is in there. You can access that there, but it may not be there yet. Oh, I'm still recording, so it won't. It can't be there yet. But what I'm going to do once I stop recording, it's going to be there. At least it will be for me, and I'll email you this video along with the chat transcript and a few tutorials explaining all of this. Gmeet. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, if you want to unmute yourself and ask something, feel free.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you find yourself doing a lot of takes before you're happy with your actual video, do you end up having a whole bunch of extra copies or extra videos that you then have to go and delete, or you just delete them at that time?
It depends. So there's some free software you can use that lets you edit out multiple takes. So Screencast-O-Matic is one of them. And it's fairly easy to use, right? But yeah, if really, I just have started over when I've made any videos. You can't see this, and that's by design, but I have like a little script here that I've been trying to follow. And so I have it behind the screen, and I learned this from my students. Once I had them do a video project, and I saw them doing it, and they made like giant cue cards, and they held it behind the camera, and I was like, that's so brilliant. And so I've been doing that ever since. So, but if it's something you're really comfortable with, you could probably wing it a little better. And it, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I know we're hyper aware of ourselves when we're recording ourselves, because then we look at ourselves and I'm like, do I really sound like that? But if you're in the classroom, you don't have a second take, so hope that answers your question, Stephen.
Yeah, you can but you can delete them as soon as you make it if you decide you don't want that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've done that a lot.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. And look through the comments here. Is there anything I didn't get to? Any other questions you might have? Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add what I had screen.
Hey, David, one thing,
Yeah.
just to add to your list of things that you're going to send to everybody. Catherine mentioned at the beginning. Could you send us that Google timer? That was cool.
Oh, yeah.
That would be, yeah. So we don't have to, I know you said you found it in Google, but save us the time to find it. But I'd love to have that too.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to turn off the recording here.